Oh, good morning, everyone. I think we might be live. Technology, you never know. So we're gonna just give it just 1 minute and make sure everything is working. Looks like, all right, looks like we won't be ready to go. But if you're out there, you'd want to drop hashtag coffee break in the chat. And all right, away we go. And welcome to Friday morning. This is the Construction CPA's Coffee Cafe. I am Lisa Raish. I am the Construction CPA. We are dropping the hammer on cash flow problems for contractors so you can build things that matter. And today's topic is common mistakes to avoid as a business owner. And I know it's a kind of really broad topic, but we're just going to hit on some high level things that tend to hink up a lot of people, to include myself. I probably made a handful of these mistakes myself in the early days. And, like anyone else, like any other business owner, I make mistakes in my business as well. So it's good actually, as I was researching, going back to the topic and kind of thinking about what I wanted to talk about, I was like, oh yeah, I did that too. So again, we all make the same mistakes. So kind of common mistakes that people tend to make is that they really just fail to plan. And they don't create any kind of overall business. There's no clear business plan. And you don't have to create a 100-page business plan in order to create a plan for your business. We happen to use a product here called Live Plan. With Live Plan and with our clients, we are doing what's called a lean plan. And it tends to just be that 2 to 3 page business plan, kind of outlining the high level, who's your target market, what are your sales strategies, general forecasts, on a high level, what it is that you need to do, kind of what you're looking to achieve in your business. So again, it doesn't have to be a 100-page business plan, but you want to create at least, a small, what we call a lean business plan, right? Which highlights the high level points that you would create in a business plan. It's also important that you plan out your overall strategic growth. So how do you plan to grow over the next 12 months, 24 months, 36 months? And you may not have all of the details hashed out, but on a high level, you'll have mapped out strategically what you want to do. Are you going to maybe move into a different product line? You're going to add a product line. If you're doing that, that typically requires hiring people, maybe adding new technology in your business. Those are all things that you want to think about as you're building out that strategic plan to move forward, over at the least the next 12 months, as you get closer to a year end and we start to look at a next year, it's really important that you want to think about what do you want to do over the next 12 months. So again, you want to really think about the importance of building out that strategic plan and that growth and the sustainability and how you're going to kind of get from point A to point B. One of the other things that tends to happen in the overall planning now is there is either no budgeting or very little budgeting, or no forecasting, or some little forecasting that's done. So you've created your plan as to what it is that you want to do and how you want to get there, but now you need to put numbers on that plan, right? So if you are looking to hire new people, when do you hire those new people? When do you want to bring them on? How much are they going to cost you? Is there going to be a time where they're going to need to be trained or ramped up? If that's the case, how long does that last? If you're still in the earlier stages of your business, are you the owner training up the new people? And if you are, then that takes away from things that you can do in your business at that point. So again, those are the different things you want to think about. If you're in the later stages of your business, now instead of you being the one training, you have management team, or you have team members that are training new team members. Again, how long does that training last? Are they going to need to be, for instance, we work with a lot of construction. So are you hiring a person that requires a brand new truck or a fully outfitted truck with all the appropriate tools in it? So it might not just be a new person, but a capital investment for those new things. So those are all, you've got your plan. These are the things I want to do over the next 12, 24, 36 months. But what are the costs associated with that? So building out that financial plan. a lot of times business owners don't actually kind of build out that financial model and just start to hire people and maybe don't get the results that they're looking for, or really get into maybe financial trouble because they've not thought about, again, if someone needs to be trained or ramped up before they can start to be fully functional and be a revenue generator in their business. Those are things that you want to think about from like a financial model perspective. And you want to maintain accurate records, right? So if you are not maintaining accurate records, it's hard to monitor your cash flow. It's hard to do any kind of financial planning. It's hard to do any kind of forecasting if you don't have accurate information to work off of, to build the balance of your plan off of, or your forecasting, to include cash flow forecasting. So if you don't have good financial records, it's hard to forecast when you think the cash is going to come in and go out, which again, cash flow is key in any business. Understanding the ebbs and flows of the cash flow is really key to your overall health. It's not just bringing in more sales or reining in your expenses. If you can't get the cash to kind of ebb and flow at the right pace, we've seen profitable businesses with cash flow problems that do go out of business because they never got a handle on their cash flow problems, because they didn't have accurate records, or they didn't maintain accurate records, or they didn't do any kind of forecasting. So again, these are kind of misses that people tend to kind of overlook when they get started in their businesses. So you want to build out that business plan, that strategic plan, and then do your financial forecasting and maintaining accurate records so that you can, in fact, continue to do the forecasting and continued planning that you would like to do. Another issue that business owners tend to run into is you overextend your resources, right? So, this is a very person intense business. And so in my particular business, and what we tend to see a lot in the construction as well, it's very people oriented. So those people only have so much capacity. There's only so many hours in the day that they can work, or so many things that they can do in a day. If they're doing 2 and 3 people's jobs, you run into issues where they're at capacity, but they're burned out. And typically, whether you as the owner get burned out or your team gets burned out. When people get burned out, a lot of times they tend to leave, or, they kind of check out at the same time. So again, you don't want to burn out and bring your people to full capacity, because then it doesn't give you anywhere to grow from. If you've kind of hit like that ceiling and you can't go any higher. So you really need to think about balancing your growth with your available resources. So if you're looking to grow, if you're looking to increase your revenues and your team are at capacity, that's where you need to think about, well, I probably need another team member. So again, figuring out from a forecasting perspective, how much that additional person is going to cost you, what revenues do you need to bring in the door in order for you to be able to maintain that person. And then now you're starting to pull some of the capacity off of your existing team, and you're spreading it onto new team members or future team members that you're looking to bring on. Another issue that people run into is not paying attention to customer feedback. We're in the process actually of rolling out the use of a new product, a software tool with our clients. And that was from listening to questions, concerns, and honestly, some complaints from clients over the last year or two about one of the tools that we're using. So again, we're taking that feedback and they're saying, hey, it's hard to use this tool. We're now using or looking in using a new tool in order to streamline some of the challenges that we had. And that's just an example of something we've done, but you want to take that feedback from your customers and implement it and make the changes. Are there things that you're forgetting to do, or things that they would like you? Do they have preferences? They'd like you to do X or Y, or maybe you're just not listening at all. Again, really thinking about taking that feedback, looking how it affects your business, your overall product, your service, and how can you take that feedback and then potentially make changes that will not only change the experience with that one customer, but may potentially change the experience with other customers as well. And honestly, building strong customer relationships is key to any business, especially when you're in a service business. We're a service business. The construction businesses we work with are, at its core, service businesses. So it is about building relationships with your customer base so that they can become your thousand raving fans. And they're the ones who are excited to tell that next person that needs your services about how a fabulous job that they did. For example, I'm having work done in my own home right now. I have an amazing contractor. They have done a fabulous job. I will tell anybody and everybody how amazing they are because it has been a seamless and very easy on my perspective experience for me. So, I mean, I think that's amazing. So I'm going to share that feedback with them. And again, that goes into how they service their own clients. So again, you want to take that feedback, and taking feedback can be hard. There are times where, yeah, it may be a little bit hard to swallow, but a lot of times if someone's stepped forward and given you feedback, there are other people who have not stepped forward and given you that feedback. And it's typically, not just that one person. A lot of times it tends to be other people. So it's something to consider. Consider what they have to say and, potentially making the improvements in your business, in order to keep all or close to all your clients and your customers happy. You can't make everyone happy, but again, we work to try to make our client and customer base as happy as possible and wanting to come back and wanting to use our services over and over again. Another issue or another challenge is hiring. Hiring is hard. It has been incredibly challenging over the last couple of years. We've had challenges in the accounting profession, and I see it with my construction clients. They have challenges finding good team members. So, hire, like they say, hire slow and fire fast. Take the time and don't rush into hiring. Unfortunately, I think we've all done it where we've needed somebody yesterday, so that when somebody shows up today, we take them and we put them in the seat and we think that it's going to work. And I've done it and made horrible mistakes myself. I've had clients who've done it and made horrible mistakes also. You really don't want to rush into the hiring process. So that's, again, when you're doing your planning, thinking about 4, 5, 6 months down the road. You may not need that person today, but if you are growing and you're looking to hit a specific, say, revenue number, you may actually need that person today or within the next month or so that they are truly ramped and in place 5 months down the road when you need them. So again, hire slow, fire fast, find the right candidates, build out your onboarding, your process, make sure it's effective when you are bringing your team on. You want them to be, and I don't want to say bought in, but bought into what it is that you're doing and how you do it. So you want to think about how you onboard team members as much as you think about how you onboard clients, so that the experience with you is seamless and is a positive experience, so that just like with customers, if you have team that enjoy and love working for you, then they'll be excited to tell the next person about working for you and how they enjoy it, and it would be a great place to work. So again, hire slow, fire fast. If they're not working out, then they're not working out, and team members need to go. Again, I've done it. I am just like every other business owner, hired quickly and then found out it just wasn't the right fit, and you keep them on for too long, and then it becomes more of a challenge in your business to kind of fix or undo some of the things that are happening. The other thing is just neglecting to develop your employees. We see it in accounting. Team members come in as staff accountants, and I've seen it in businesses that I've worked in before where we don't develop team members. So you want to do that. You want to be able to develop your team so that you can grow, but you can raise them up. They can take on more responsibility, take responsibility off of your plate. And again, you've got that kind of continuous, bringing on, bringing up, so that it frees you up to do the things in your business that you need to do, which is growing your business. You want to be working on it versus in it. So take the time to work with your team, to train them, give them the growth opportunities that they're looking for. Many team members leave because they just don't see the growth opportunities within the entity that they're in. So train them, show them the growth opportunities, because as they grow, it gives you a chance to grow and do other things as well. And honestly, even in any industry, even in construction, you want to foster continuous learning, right? Learning new techniques, new strategies, new ways to do things. In accounting, are there better ways, more efficient? Again, because we're very person oriented, right? Efficiency, capacity. If we're constantly learning, can we make changes that are going to improve what we do and how we service clients? It speed it up. And it's the same thing in most other businesses, in any other service businesses, in the construction businesses that we work with. When they're continuously learning and they're training their team and they're growing, again, they're bringing them up, and at the same time, they're coming up as well. And it frees them up to do other things because they've trained their team to do, again, the first level work that you were doing when you were brand new in your business. But now that you've grown and your revenue has grown, you really can't be doing those things. But now you've trained up a team member to take them on, and then it frees you up to do other things. Another thing that people tend to run into is not really having their eyes on the legal and compliance issues in their entities or in their businesses or even in their industries. There are certain entity types that might be better than others, depending on the type of business that you have. There is no one size fits all. So you want to be in the right type of entity legal structure for protecting yourself legally, also maximizing any kind of tax savings. So there's two things there. You want to think about protection, legal protections, but also tax. Like, how does it affect you from a tax perspective? You want to make sure that you have solid contracts, you have solid agreements. If you are working in a service industry like we are, like our clients are, the construction industry, you want to have solid contracts. Should something happen and should something go sideways, you've got a solid contract to fall back on, if that were to come. You hear the stories over and over again about, people have, major projects done, major work done in their homes, they're having something built. You want to have a solid contract in place. Who does what, when, what are the expectations of both sides? And should something happen, how can we split as painlessly as possible? So it's not just contracts, you and your end user or your customer, but also if you are in a partnership or there are multiple shareholders, what is the operating agreement? Who does what? Why do they do that? If someone doesn't want to be in the business any longer, how do they get out? So you want to make sure that you understand the legal implications of not only the structure you've chosen, but also how you engage with your customers and your clients in the long term. So that, again, so you protect yourself, and at the end of the day, your customer is also protected. If you are, you want to adhere to whatever the legal requirements are in your particular jurisdiction, in your state, in your county. In construction, there are going to be there are going to be rules and regulations, construction code. It's going to be different in various communities. You want to make sure that you're aware of what those legalities are. What are your requirements? Are there any compliance requirements? Are there things that you need to, forms, filings that you need to turn in on a regular basis? Something simple as, if you incorporate in most states are going to require you to file an annual report. So what are the compliance requirements around that? If you are licensed in the state, you're a licensed CPA, like I am. What are my licensing requirements? I have education requirements. If you're in construction, what are the licensing requirements in the jurisdiction you're in? Is there a continuing education component? Do you at the minimum need to renew your license every year? So again, just simple compliance things, but things that really can slow you down should you run into any challenges down the road. Again, you let your license lapse, that can be a problem. If you're not clear on the type of legal entity that you have and you don't file the annual report with most states and you don't do it for a couple of years, you will in fact get dissolved in that state. So again, just general legal compliance that you want to be familiar with so that you stay compliant and then, don't run into an issue where unfortunately your entity gets dissolved because you didn't file the appropriate annual filings with the government or the state or the county that you're in every year. Another thing that can be an issue for businesses, and especially in business now, is just lacking a digital presence. More and more people, I would say almost everyone now, is going to go online and look to see if you're legitimate. Are you a legitimate business? Whatever it is that you're doing. I'm a CPA. Are we legitimate? Do we have a website? Do we have any kind of social presence? If you're in construction, do you have a website? Do you have any kind of social presence? Do you have reviews, Google reviews, or reviews on your website of work that you've done? Again, those are the first and immediate things now that people are looking for. So don't neglect your digital presence. You want to have an online presence. You want to have a website that people can interact with, can contact you should they want to schedule a call with you or schedule a meeting with you. You really want to utilize the digital strategies that are out there, whether it be having an email list, whether it be doing videos like this, whether it be having an interactive website, whatever it is, you want to maintain your digital presence, because now more than anything, that is the first place that people are going to go to look to determine if you are really just a legitimate entity. The other thing is, from a marketing perspective, is you want to maintain consistent customer or client engagement. So you want it to be consistent across the board. You don't want customer A to have one experience, B has a different experience, and it's different with every person. You want to maintain that consistency, because when A, who's had a wonderful experience with you, then in turn refers you out to someone to B, and they don't have that experience, now it looks kind of poorly on that person who's not only you as the business owner, but that person who's referred you and has said, oh, well, I didn't have that same experience you had. It was XYZ. And then now potentially you've got customer A who did have a wonderful experience with you, who may be hesitant to refer you out in the future because, well, my friend B came back and said, they did not have a good experience with you. Now, I'm not saying that's not the end all be all, but again, those are things that you want to think about. That raving fan, customer A, who had a fabulous experience with you, might think twice about referring you the next time. So again, you want to maintain that customer experience across the board. Not everyone's going to have an amazing experience, but again, you want to create some level of consistency, client to client. So again, that builds up your brand, that builds up your overall reputation. And especially when you're in a service business, your reputation really does mean a lot. So I know we covered a lot of things today, all the way from not planning or making sure that you're planning, making sure you don't overextend your resources, human resource challenges. We've all had challenges hiring in the last couple of years. You want to make sure you understand your legal compliance, where your obligations are from a legal standpoint. And honestly, don't forget your marketing. Don't forget those customers who did enjoy working with you. You want to use them as a platform for, that next great referral. It was great to see everybody this Friday morning. I hope you join us every Friday morning here for the Construction CPA's Coffee Cafe. Again, if you loved today's Coffee Cafe, #coffee break in the chat. And we are dropping the hammer on cash flow problems so you can build things that matter. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week.